Thank you, Kapu. I am so blessed to have you in my life, and this is an honor to do this. So I'm going to start with luck is not about what, it's about who. One of the most important things that we can do in our lives is to find a group of people we can trust. I have my own, and I'm sure that you have your own. I call my list of 100, and these are the people I stay in contact with. I keep in touch and let them know how important they are to me. Sometimes I choose 5 people a day. I was doing this for a little while and just reaching out and letting them know that I'm grateful that they're in my life. And I've learned how to use Facebook message voice text and I think I practiced this on you, Kapu, to say, I'm practicing. So people love to hear your voice. I think texting is great. And what's great is on Facebook, you can just use the Facebook message and leave them your voice, because that means so much. I think also sending a handwritten note is awesome too. I try to do one of those at least a week, and I think it's so important. People love when they get something in the mail. um, you never know what turn your personal or professional life will take. None of us know. So these people can be the people you go to for advice and for help. And remember, being interested in others is much more important than trying to get others to be interested in you. And I think that's something to always remember. Get connected, get involved, find connections and build a network and build the self-confidence that we need and in this ever-changing, ever-disruptive life. And building self-confidence is one of the new and few gains that anybody can win. So we want to I would say commit yourself to build relationship capital to make your life count with every person that you encounter.
So that's very interesting that you talked about relationship capital, right? Um, I consider everybody who is on this Zoom as my relationship capital because you guys have all touched me in some way, shape, or form. You mentioned to me the other day about who are your top 100 that have your back. Is that, did I get that right? I was driving when you said
Right.
that.
And those are the people that
So
I make sure I stay in touch with. Like, I think everybody should have that list of their people.
100 people.
At least 100 people, yeah.
Yeah. And so what if
And if
somebody
you don't
says,
have them,
you
I can
know,
help them find them.
how do you find those 100 people? Um,
I find it to be so much easier now, as much as some people are Zoom fatigued. I think Zoom has given us this amazing opportunity to be part of groups. So many groups have popped up to be able to do networking and to meet new people. I think getting on those groups is important, but what's more important is then to reach out and connect with those people. And like I said, it's so important to be more interested in what they're doing than what you're doing. Like, so one of the things I always do when I connect with people is ask, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? How can I help you grow your business? And that has been phenomenal in growing. And I've found these amazing people that are like me and want to do the same thing. So it's just been, and I would have never met them if it wasn't for the pandemic. This never would have happened in this way. Um, and I know sometimes it's uncomfortable for people to show up in a Zoom. I think when we build our self-confidence, and doing that is not always easy, is what is going to be helpful in doing this, and just do it. Like, I'm reading a book now called Everything is Figure Outable, which if anybody's interested, I can give them more information. I love. You're reading that too, Monica?
I read it. I read it. Yeah, Marie Forleo, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
great book.
so we'll put a link in the chat. I love, like, Aparna is one of my top 100. She's right now putting stuff in the chat. So yeah,
So
everything is figure outable,
right.
right?
That's one of them. There's so many books that I think that can help build our self-confidence. And then when we build our self-confidence, it's so much easier when we're in a group to reach out to people. The other book that I love is The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. And it's really great because I don't want to give away everything in the book. She saw a commercial. She was down and out and saw a commercial, and it was a rocket ship counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she was having a hard time getting up out of bed. And she said, you know what? I'm just going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and pop out of bed like a rocket ship. And then she did a bunch of research and found out all this information about what happens is when you let yourself think about what you're doing, your brain stops you from doing it. But if you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it. Like, I don't want to go to this networking group. I don't want to get on this Zoom. Count down and do it before your brain stops you. Just like anything, sometimes we have to do those things even though we're afraid, and do them before we're really ready. Like, I got on a Facebook Live with Kapu earlier today. We just did it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, which was amazing. And I've never done that before, but I just did it.
Hey, just that Mel Robin stuff, you can find her TED talk about that. It's amazing. And she explains the whole thing. And then, you can get the book, but her TED talk is what launched it. It's
Yeah.
great.
And it was only like the last minute of her TED talk. And she had
No, no, no. Yeah, I mean, she does a whole
and it
TED
went
talk on it.
viral. It was the last minute of her TED talk. And she was
Yeah,
actually a speaker at our convention a few years ago. She's just
yeah.
amazing. Um, the Slight Edge is another one. I know I love books, so I like to kind of weave them into what I talk about.
And we'll put all of them in the list so that you can see them, and we'll make sure we put them in the event page too.
Sure. So the Slight Edge, it's just easier not to do things than to do things, such as go to the gym. It's easier not to go to the gym. It's easier not to eat healthy. It's easier to just forget about doing whatever that important thing is than do it. And so that's what I love about the Slight Edge. And one of the examples he uses is, so Kapu and I go to lunch, and she orders a salad and I order the triple meat pizza and eat the whole thing, and she eats the salad. Well, for today, it really doesn't matter. But if I continue to do that for a week, for a month, for a year, for 5 years, it's going to add up and make a difference. So I think that's so interesting that we want to get into those really good habits. And that's my pitch for the Slight Edge, which I love.
And I love that you mentioned about, being interested in them versus, making yourself interesting. So to share with the group, I mean, I love how when you go and meet somebody, you're at the back of your mind, when you're listening to them, you're like, you know what? This person would be a great connection for Romita. And it's got nothing to do whether or not Romita or this person does business or not, but it is just thinking that maybe their interests are same, they love doing the same kind of stuff. And then I get an email in the morning from Hillary saying, hey Kapu, I met such and such, and I think you guys would hit it off. And most of the times we do, and sometimes we don't, but it actually has given me the confidence to reach out to complete strangers and say, yeah, Hillary introduced me. So we can all do our part and pay it forward if we think of a couple of people that we think, and it doesn't have to have, how do I say it, a benefit at the end, that you shouldn't make an introduction with a benefit at the end of something other than just connecting them, right?
I think too, well, I love connecting with people. I love connecting people. And I've learned, especially now in this pandemic, just connecting with good people has been amazing. I've found the most amazing people since the pandemic. And so we meet once a month, and we Zoom, we spend an hour, and we find connections for each other. And a couple of the people that I think are near and dear to my heart, I've never met in person. I only know them on Zoom. When I ask what they're looking for, they say good people. I'm looking for good people, which I think is just amazing. And I can't tell you how many people I've connected, good people with good people. One of the ways that has worked out really well too is to use LinkedIn. And you can filter on LinkedIn. So if someone I'm meeting with says they're looking for accountants, I can go on LinkedIn and filter accountants and see all the accountants I know and go, oh, I know this person and this person. Let me find 2 people to connect you with, and I'll send an email. So I always give myself a goal when I'm meeting with somebody. And I think that's something that everybody could do, whether it's networking or just a one-to-one meeting, is give yourself a goal. And we can go into that too. And I don't know if that might be on the list too, Kapu. So my goal is to find two people to connect them with. And if I'm going to find them two people, they're probably going to find me two people. But I don't say, and sometimes I'll ask to, you know, I can do this for you. Would you be willing and interested in doing the same thing? Because maybe they're not, and that's okay. So going back to goals, a goal for networking one-to-ones, but also a goal when you're going to events is really helpful, especially if you don't like to do it. I used to say this with Christine when we did the in-person orientation. If you're going to an event and if you're joining something, whatever it is, the Princeton Chamber, which I love, so you've joined your group, you've paid your membership, and now you have to do something with it. So when you go, even if you're uncomfortable, use the 5-second rule to get into the event, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and say, I'm going to meet two people and then I'm going to leave. So have that as your goal if you're uncomfortable so that you can meet those two people and leave. I've had friends that told me they sat in their car and they thought about what I said and they went in and they met the two people and then they stayed because then they started to feel comfortable. So if you give yourself these little goals to get there, you may stay. And if you don't, at least you've met two people. I think it's the same thing on virtual, is to give yourself a goal of finding two people to connect with afterwards, because we all do these Zooms. Most people put their information in the chat, and see who you think you could connect best with or who you could connect to other people, because that's going to come back.
So on that note, Hillary, I think even I wanted to say, like, even in your personal life, like we tend to go to, well, right now we're not going to parties, but if we were to go to a party where you knew just me and nobody else, how would you approach even a personal event like that? What if it's not a business event?
It's the same thing. You want to get yourself there and get in the door, and give yourself a goal to talk. I think doing the same thing, give yourself a goal to talk to people. And I think just walking up and saying, hi, it's so nice to meet you, and ask questions about them. And again, be interested in them, I think is so important.
So when you went back to, I want to pick on something that you mentioned, that during the pandemic, it's being these connections have been very, very valuable and helpful to you. How has, particularly on your business end or your personal end, what were you going through during the pandemic that has really helped you? Everybody had some challenges on the pandemic. So how have you managed those challenges with your 100 people?
Well, so it was very interesting for me because I had a full-time job and a part-time passion, and my full-time job went away. So I had to be comfortable with me and being by myself and not going to a job. And I would say that my business supported me in such a way that with such a community that was so helpful to make it comfortable to be able to have that personal, relationship. And I like Zoom. Like, I think it's been amazing. So and then I was able to do events on Zoom. I think it's given us so many more options. Like, I think when things open up and we're not having to be home, we can do this and we can do the other things, which I think with technology, we can be more efficient, and still see people, but be more efficient by being on a computer like this.
So what is your business that you were hosting events? I can't do my business online, so.
So my business is Arbonne International, a health and wellness lifestyle brand, and what's great. It was already virtual, so we had to pivot somewhat, but we had already been doing Zoom meetings, so it was more, I guess, a little bit of an advantage of being comfortable on Zoom, but not the way we're doing it now. So we were able to pivot everything virtual. Because it's international, I don't have to worry about local businesses. So that's been really fun. So when I network with people, I can invite them to something. I invite them to the Princeton Chamber. I invite them to a facial. I invite them to a healthy living. So I used to think I had to give so much, but when I'm giving healthy living, like it's when I'm giving people healthy products, I think that's also giving them something. And kind of to a little bit different, but when we're healthier, we're taking care of ourselves, our confidence is going to be bigger. Our business is probably going to do better. I think our relationships are going to do better. So, because then our whole bodies are functioning better. So then because it's all connected, mind, body, skin, everything's connected. So I feel like I am helping people just by offering what I have in my products too.
That's excellent. And, I've been a big beneficiary of that. So that's great. For the benefit of those who haven't yet joined a networking group or are planning to join one, what is the way that you can, some 3 to 5 tips that you could give them saying, when you enter into a room, do these 3 things so that, what the first one you already said, get in the car and just go, right? But now you're inside, what would you do?
I would find somebody I don't know.
Wow, that's a bit scary for a lot of people, but.
Or the other thing is you take a buddy when you go, all right, we're talking about if we're in person, but find somebody that you're comfortable with and partner with them. I did that to events in the past, and it's been amazing. And then actually got appointments with partners that were in totally different businesses. So I actually was with a financial advisor, went to an event together, and it worked out so well because we were both new to the event. So I'd say find a partner is another way to do it. But you were asking for tips when you get there. One of the things that I've learned too is if you're standing in a group of people, to not be closed, be open so other people can join in. So other people feel welcome, which we have to really think about. And I learned that in BNI, one of the educational moments, someone said that, and I've always revisited that because I think it's so important when people are standing a certain way and standing open, other people feel comfortable, being part of that conversation.
Can
So I
I
guess
add something? Can I add something? Because
Sure.
Hillary always did something that I thought, and I think many of us do, but if you see somebody in the room that is not talking to anybody, they're kind of on the sideline, be the first one to go up to them and introduce yourself. Because, if you're new to the group, right, or you don't know anybody or that many people, at least you're opening yourself up to somebody who you pretty sure doesn't know anyone, right? So it makes them feel good. And then you can walk around and maybe if you see somebody, introduce them as well. So I just always finding that person that, and helping that person helps you get around the room as well.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
that's
know,
a
but I
great
know Hillary,
point.
you've done it. I know I've done it. So.
And this is true even in personal life, right? Because there are times when Esther's on this call here, and she hosts Lunar New Year parties, and sometimes a lot of us who go there, we don't know each other, but you just you walk in by yourself and you make new friends, and that's true regardless of whether it's a business meeting or even a party. It doesn't matter. Get to know new people because you don't know how they are going to enrich you, right?
And if you have a group, like the Princeton Chamber does such a great job because they have ambassadors that help people who are new and uncomfortable and invite them. So if you're starting a group or you have a group, have people who are just for helping them, mentoring them so that they can feel more comfortable.
The other thing I also encourage people to do is we have this You Shine group, and the idea here is, me and Aparna post that a lot, but sometimes it helps to just, share something that you found interesting over in those groups. So even if you're not verbalizing yourself, it's a way to get out of that feeling of, what if I share? What if I share? Right? And it kind of gives you a little more confidence in doing something. And then if you're crazy enough like me, you could just do a live without planning for it and hope for the best. That sometimes works too.
I'm Hillary Spivak, Arbonne International. I can't live without my pomegranate fizz stick. which I wouldn't recommend having them at night. I can do that, but it has botanical caffeine, but it's helpful for cognitive. It's great for, it keeps you alert and awake without the crash like caffeine in the coffee. So you can find me at hillaryspivak.arbonne.com. Is that all? Is that what you want
No,
to
and you have a Facebook group, so we'll put a link to your Facebook
Oh,
group.
Help My Healthy Living Facebook group, yes.
Yeah. But Hillary, I cannot thank you enough. I hope you guys all had a great time meeting each other, meeting Hillary.
Thank you, Kapu. I hope everybody can take something away, and I'd love to help people connect with other people, so you can always reach out to me if you'd like. And I love you, Kapu. You're the best.
And we're going to put Hillary's contact information for Arbonne. She really gets me the reason of my youthful look is all Arbonne. Don't forget to contact Hillary for that. But we'll put all the information in our event page so you have a connection with her. Have a great evening, guys.